Hi, good to have you with us on Anzac Day. Later, living with the nightmare of uncontrollable children. But now a drug-free program is turning lives around for the children and their parents. Plus, the new star of Australian swimming. Only 14, but Liesl Jones has already beaten her idol, Samantha Riley. Those stories shortly, but we begin tonight with the Anzac spirit being passed on to a whole new generation of young Australians. Among the thousands of Aussies and Kiwis who attended this year's dawn service at Gallipoli were 8 high school students, winners of a nationwide contest where they had to define the meaning of Anzac Day. Shortly, we'll be joined from Anzac Cove by Prime Minister John Howard, along with one of those students, Laura Grumley. But first, this backgrounder from Scott Bevan.
It's 85 years since you were there. What do you think like?
How long is it? 85 years?
It's 85 years.
That's true.
Does it seem that long?
No, it doesn't.
For 101-year-old Alec Campbell, Gallipoli may be in the past, but for Australians, what that terrible campaign produced is something forever present in who we are and what we believe in. Not that this Gallipoli veteran, one of only 2 still alive, imagined he was running towards posterity as he ran up that beach in 1915. After all, it was adventure, not glory, that the boy from Launceston, Tasmania, was seeking.
Who's this young bloke?
Oh, good Lord.
Who's he?
Funny looking little fella.
How old were you there, Mr. Campbell?
16.
16. Still a boy?
I'm still a boy, yes.
But in the trenches on those Turkish shores, boys like Alec Campbell grew into not only men, but legends as they forged the Anzac spirit.
The Anzac spirit is made up of determination, courage, sacrifice. It's very important to Australians. It's the basis of our society.
All the Anzacs demonstrated these qualities when they stuck by each other while fighting proudly for their countries.
The Anzac spirit is something which is in Australia now.
About the same age as Alec when he was fighting, Caitlin Hurley from Canberra, Alicia Dabowski from Perth and Laura Grumley from Gosford in New South Wales have been among hundreds of high school students inspired to describe what the Anzac spirit means to them, writing an essay for the National Simpson Prize competition.
Pride in their unit, the love of their country and their will to stay in Gallipoli rather than leave their dead mates behind. Mateship.
Mateship created strong bonds between the men at Gallipoli and was essential to their
emotional... The Anzac spirit also means making the most of every situation, no matter how horrible the conditions.
Laura, Alicia and Caitlin are among the 8 competition winners, and their prize, a trip to Gallipoli for Anzac Day.
I sunk in eventually. And I'm so excited, it's just...
All through my life I've grown up hearing about this part of our history at school and in movies and at home, and now it's all going to become reality.
That glimpse of reality begins for Laura and Caitlin at the Australian War Memorial.
It's hundreds and millions.
Especially in the Gallipoli room.
Well, this is where you'll soon be bound for.
Yeah, It's amazing we're going to be there soon. I think it'll be really emotional actually being that far away from home, but reading headstones that actually have Australians' names on them at such a young age as well.
I think it would be impossible for any Australian to go to Gallipoli and not be very, very moved by that almost palpable feeling you get when you're on the peninsula.
Graham Beveridge is the coordinator of the Simpson Prize.
Because it's such a long time ago, the Simpson Prize, by allowing students to actually visit Gallipoli and walk those battlefields and hear the stories of what went on, is a very powerful way of preserving what we refer to as the Anzac spirit.
And for the girls, that spirit became more than words, attending a special ceremony for the symbolic handing over of the Anzac tradition, presided over by Prime Minister John Howard.
Good to see you.
And you're
From Gosford.
Gosford, yes. You're from Canberra.
And with the guest of honour, Alec Campbell.
So they'd like to meet you. What's your name?
Laura.
Laura.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. And meeting someone who's fought and has been there before, it kind of actually lets you know that this thing is real and it isn't just something you learnt about.
Oh, Simpson and his donkey.
Later, Laura presented her essay to Mr. Campbell and his wife Kate, and they talked about her badge collection.
The slouch hat for winning the essay.
And there were memories of life in the trenches.
Yeah, well, of course, one could never forget the army biscuits.
But even after 85 years, there's one word Mr. Campbell doesn't entertain.
When people talk about the first Anzacs being heroes, do you feel like a hero?
No, of course I don't. No. It's just a tag that people put onto us, but it doesn't mean anything. But what is a hero?
What is a hero? Well, to those who now carry the Anzac spirit into the future, Alec Campbell and all men and women who have served Australia are heroes.
After all that, it's the least our generation can do to make sure that they are never forgotten, and I don't think they will be.
Thanks both for joining us. Laura, if I could start with you, what sort of a feeling did you have there?
Well, it was an amazing feeling. I guess before me and the other winners of the Simpson Prize came to Gallipoli, we were told by a number of people how emotional it would be, but I guess it was a little hard to comprehend until we actually came here and experienced it for ourselves, and it was a really emotional experience.
In what way?
I think it was really emotional in the fact that we knew we were standing where so many Australian men and women stood and risked their lives so that kids like myself and the other Simpson Prize winners could live in a free and happy country like Australia today. And I guess also it was being so far away from home and hearing the national anthem played, Australia's national anthem, it was really emotional.
Have you felt the resurgence of that Anzac spirit among young people your age?
Yeah, I have. Young people of my age are researching and looking at the Anzac spirit and legend a lot more these days, and I think that's really important, that it is remembered and that our generation makes sure that it's never forgotten.
Prime Minister Howard, have you felt that while being there?
Oh, Mike, absolutely. The most moving thing to me this morning and yesterday, wandering around Gallipoli, was the enormous number of young Australians and their obvious emotional involvement in this wonderful commemoration, and the way in which Anzac Cove is now acting as a magnet to young Australians coming not only directly from Australia but those holidaying in Europe. It is an extraordinary experience, and I think there is a resurgence of national feeling, a passion for the Anzac legend and tradition amongst young Australians. Quite remarkable, very moving and absolutely heartwarming for older generations of Australians.
You'll be pleased to know that there were record crowds all over Australia this morning. It's your first trip to Gallipoli. What moved you most?
Oh, I guess the thing that moved me most of all was to stand and contemplate, as Laura said, just how many men died here to, in those very simple words, keep us free and to give us the way of life and the sort of things that we too often take for granted in Australia. The scale of the sacrifice was just quite extraordinary, and it does have an incredible impact on one. I've read about it, I thought I knew a lot about it, I've talked to a lot of people about it, but nothing quite prepares you for the emotional grip that it exerts on you, and I can understand why so many young Australians come and go away with a greater sense of their Australian identity.
Prime Minister Howard, thanks very much for your patience, and Laura Grumley, we appreciate your time too.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll take a break. Then the alternative to drugs for many children with severe behavioural problems.
We have seen many, many children who would have been classified as little devils turn into little angels. That's how good it can be.
Hillary Clinton recently opened up a whole new debate about the amount of drugs being prescribed for children suffering from conditions like ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The fact is, most parents choose medication reluctantly, wishing there was some other way of dealing with severe behaviour problems besides medication. Well, according to one ADD support group, there is an alternative, and it's called the Elimination Diet. Tara Brown has the story.
Come here! Break the window, slut! Don't do that!
It's going to make your life easier if we leave. Well, if you leave now or in 10 minutes or in 20 minutes, you'll be like this for the next 3 hours.
Recently we took you into the homes of families who live with attention deficit disorder, a frightening insight into how this illness can turn families upside down. Young children, violent and uncontrollable, venting their rage on parents and siblings.
Kicking holes in walls, breaking windows, even threatening their parents with knives. It can be as bad as that.
And what are the results if they go on an elimination diet?
They can end up saying to me, and I hear this over and over again, for the first time in my life, I feel as if I have a normal child. That's how good it can be.
And that is without medication?
Yes, without medication.
Sue Dengate, a former high school teacher turned psychology graduate, is now a food intolerance counsellor and author. She believes the key to managing intolerable behaviour is diet.
We have seen many, many children who would have been classified as little devils turn into little angels. There's no doubt about that.
The elimination diet varies from child to child, but basically it works like this. For 3 to 6 weeks, all foods with chemicals known to cause a reaction are taken out of the diet. This includes additives like food colouring and preservatives, but also natural chemicals known as salicylates and amines, which are found in most fruits and some vegetables. If the child's symptoms are severe, dairy products and wheat are also eliminated. The next step is to reintroduce the problem foods one at a time to pinpoint which food is causing the reaction.
So what sort of change did you see in his behaviour?
Oh, a total turnaround. He went from being a horrible child to being just perfect.
I pursued diet and have found that to be 100% successful, basically.
These parents form the ADD support group in Darwin, where Sue Dengate lives. They're all following the elimination diet after years of struggling with their children's behaviour.
Both the children, their report cards have done basically a 360. Yeah, their marks have gone from, below C up to A, excellence. The proof's in the pudding.
He's just like a normal kid now. Before he was irrational. He didn't know himself why he'd do things.
Peter's son was intolerant to many fruit and vegetables, food he adored. He's still on an ADD medication to help him in the classroom.
When you tease out where the benefits from diet lie, it's in the emotional range of behaviours. That is the moodiness, the sleep disturbance, the restlessness.
Dr Valencia Suter is an allergy associate physician with the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in Sydney. This is where the elimination diet has been created and refined after 20 years of research. While she agrees children with ADD who have learning difficulties may still need stimulant medication, others may not.
We see that about 60% do significantly, improve significantly. If we look at the breakdown of that, at least 1/3 are substantially better with the diet, and 1/3 are significantly better. And there's a group where the parents say, well, they are better, but the diet wasn't worth the effort. So it's not the answer for everyone with a behaviour problem. But if it is, it makes a big difference. And it's certainly, for many of them, a blessing when it comes to avoiding medications.
For parents who are concerned about medicating their young children, is this diet the alternative they're looking for?
Well, for the majority of children, no. The majority of children who have ADHD will respond to stimulant medication, which is safe and effective.
Dr Paul Hutchins, a paediatric specialist at the New Children's Hospital at Westmead, says studies show far fewer children are affected by diet than many people believe.
The science tells us that diet is not going to be a very important factor in changing the symptoms.
Tara, researchers don't have out-of-control children. If they did, they wouldn't say that.
So you don't care how many studies are done?
Not at all. We don't care. Why do we care? We had a real problem with our children. We've solved it.
Trudy and Hugh Bland have fallen in love with their daughters Jordan and Sophie all over again.
We thought we were good parents. We did everything we thought we could do, and we still had these monsters of children.
So what sort of food would make you do that?
Ice creams and lollies.
Yeah, and like lollipops.
Some sorts of meat.
What about fruit and vegetables?
No oranges.
You're not allowed to have oranges?
No.
These monsters were referred to a local paediatrician in Darwin, and while he suspected ADD, he advised they try the elimination diet first. Now the family bakes their own bread to avoid preservatives, makes their own jam to avoid chemicals, and are reaping the rewards.
They have done so much better at school, and they're continuing to do so much better at school, both scholastically and socially. We would not go back to the way it was.
They can wreck our houses, they can wreck our marriages, they can wreck our lives.
As part of her education drive, Sue Dengate meets with parents who have formed the Food Intolerance Support Group. There are over 300 different additives in our foods. Around 50 can cause severe reactions, as witnessed by these mums.
2 slices of bread with the mould inhibitor 282. She loses complete concentration, can't focus, can't sit still, doesn't want to join in with anyone, very, very hypersensitive, and writes all her letters backwards in school.
You can't reason with him at the time, and he can't read properly, he can't comprehend. Since he's been on the diet, he's started to read, write, comprehend.
Essington Private School in Darwin recognises a link between certain foods and behaviour. It's introduced fail-safe foods for children with problems. Deborah Hallowell, a mum with 2 children diagnosed with ADD, introduced the elimination diet to the canteen. Has the school seen a major change in the kids here after fail-safe was introduced?
Yes, they have. I have had reports from the teachers saying that the children are more settled after recess and lunch.
Perhaps more importantly, the students are seeing a change for themselves.
Because I get all emotional and I feel sad and I don't know why and I can't sleep and stuff. So I feel real bad all the time.
So what sort of a difference has the diet made?
Well, I can just control myself. I don't yell at everybody.
And up goes that self-esteem. Tara Brown reporting there. And Sue Dengate's book on the elimination diet is called Fed Up. You can find it in most major bookstores. Next, Queensland's latest swim sensation, 14-year-old Liesl Jones.
So what are your goals now? Olympic trials, hoping to do well, maybe go under 1.8.
Any breaststroker that's going for the Games team would have to be concerned.
In this Olympic year, it's great to see so many young stars on the rise in Australian sport. Yesterday, 16-year-old schoolboy Jaron Pearce stole the show when he won the historic Storwell Gift sprint race. And in the pool, another teenager is looking like a real potential world beater. Rachel Friend has her story.
When 14-year-old Liesl Jones stood up on the blocks at the National Age Championships earlier this month, she was hoping to do a personal best time. But as she stormed up the centre lane, leaving her competition in her wake, Liesl suddenly became Australia's newest and brightest Olympic medal hope.
You know, she's posted the fastest times in Australia this year and over the past 12 months, so really, you know, it's sort of woken everyone up and given them a shake.
I would say that any breaststroker that's going for the Games team would have to be concerned.
Liesl's time in the 100-metre breaststroke of 1 minute 8.3 seconds was the second fastest ever by an Australian, beaten only by her idol Samantha Riley. That followed her win in the 200 metres when she swam the 4th fastest time by an Australian.
It's really exciting. The crowd was really happy, so I was like, yay.
Were you surprised by your
Definitely.
own form?
Yeah, all my friends, my teammates like Tanya McDonald and Sarah Bowd, they all like helping me the nights before, getting me all psyched up.
What did you think when you looked up at the board and saw the
You could hear
time?
everyone screaming, so you could tell that you did a good time before you turned around, and then I was really excited.
The 14-year-old Dynamo powered home to clinch the double.
A week later, Liesl faced an even bigger challenge. Swimming in the big league, she took on Sam Riley for the first time and won. Now, you beat Sam Riley on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was that satisfying?
Definitely. It's like first time I've ever done that, first time I've ever raced her. So it was really good. She paced me along first 150. Just took it out last 50.
She'll definitely want to, I guess, give the girls a bit of a move on in a couple of weeks at the trials.
Should the likes of Samantha Riley be concerned?
You know, Sam's the queen at present, and someone's got to knock her off the throne, and she's sitting up there at present, so...
Liesl's coach, Ken Wood, has no doubt about her ability, but he's setting no goals for his young charge at next month's Olympic trials.
I've sort of expressed to her that she goes down there and tries to do personal best times. Well, if she does those, you know, on the times that she's done already, well, then she might be going to the Olympics.
Come on, Liesl, are you ready to go?
But that hasn't come without a lot of hard work. 5 mornings a week, Liesl and her dedicated mum Rosemary get out of bed at 4 in the morning to make it to her first training session of the day. What do you like getting up in the mornings? How do you fancy?
Yeah, I'm all right. I get up fairly easily. It's fun. You get to see the sunrise.
It's fun?
Yes, it's all right, yeah. You get a bit tired towards the end of the day. In the afternoon, sometimes you don't feel like training, you're just so tired, but you still do.
Before she even gets to the pool, she's put through a weights program designed to build up her strength and prevent injury.
This morning we'll do 145-degree sit-up, 50 toe-touch crunch and 50 full sit-ups, no break.
Then it's up and down the long black line, before a full day at school and then another training session. How are you coping with juggling your schoolwork and your swimming?
It's a little bit difficult, but I'm hoping to do about 11 or 12 over 3 years, which will make it a little bit easier on me. But I still keep going to school.
She's worked very hard for this. Like, ever since last year, I've always heard her talking about how much better she's been getting, and it's been really good.
Same way Riley's like really famous, and now Lisa's going to be really famous.
People ask her for her autograph, which is just like, whoa.
While her school friends can barely contain their excitement over her recent success, Liesl is determined to keep her feet planted firmly on the ground. So what are your goals now?
Olympic trials, hoping to do well and have a bit of fun with my friends. Maybe go under 1.8, it'll be exciting.
Rachel Friend with another Olympic profile. And those Olympic swim trials next month are shaping up to be quite a contest. Back in a moment. Now to a quick look at one of our stories tomorrow night, and it's why children continue to burn a huge hole in our pockets. We'll show you where all that money goes.
I have LA Gear, Esprit, Skechers and Mambo bag. This is my designer kids skirt. I like wearing trendy t-shirts.
Brand awareness is much more existent at a younger age than it was, say, 20 years ago.
And how much do you think you spend on clothes?
About $500 to $600 spent on each child each season.
It's incredible how much food they can consume.
Does anyone want peanut butter? Mum and Dad always say that money burns a hole in my pocket.
These are Beanie Kids and they're the latest craze.
Uh-oh. Emma Alberici with that special report tomorrow night. And that's our program. Thanks for having us, and we hope you can join us again tomorrow. Good night.